And looking for these criticals, master. The criticals are fast me. I try to fake down, even though they try to fast and all. I tried gas and all. They say nothing, but they give my own gas and all. I say, even though you be trading your gas and fast and all, I couldn't even get my own bass. So I sit myself and looking on the straight of the flats, trading the stash, and then looking at the straight of the stash. Everything trades for its own diapers for a rash. I couldn't even hold back like a toddler trying to get his pull-up roll-ups, and then I go back when I try to get my candy like a straight fruit roll-up. Hold up and goal-ups. I try to goal-ups and no-ups. I couldn't see myself like I got this shit on a breast like a lump and a mumps. I couldn't even shit when I got my own tied like a straight pink rubber band hanging around the neck. They say part of its own breast. I couldn't even get this cancer. Hold backs and stances, going bags like you couldn't see the dancer. Isn't that part of this own little dogma that we go for this own stanza? See it like a straight excavation, restoration couldn't take my back when I looked to its own fucking plateau of my own reservation. Grandma holding back on the straight of the lines, hold back in the lines, hold back, and then we looking back in the crime. Sat back when we looking at this shit of a straighter Hogan, holding Rogans and no dokes on, and then realize a straight Logan, then folks Hogan, then they call me back like an ember from a straight Hulk Hogan. Another day, another floating graves. I see nothing but his own brothers, even though you're looking for graves, holding for graves. I couldn't even hold myself for days. They say where I'm coming for traction. They couldn't even see when I'm trading my words for a straight of a faction. Hold baction, even grab my own revere when I've been looking for my own burning crusade. Holding back for my own influential for days. Today, what am I gonna do? Do I gotta trade for its own stigma, look for its own rings? And I say, am I gonna change it for how I look at me? How will I look at myself if I can't even get this own shine from I'm looking for raising the rhyme, holding raising the fine, couldn't even raise myself when I'm looking for straight divine, holding back in crime, holding back in time, couldn't get this shit when I'm looking back in time. But am I supposed to say this way? Am I supposed to say this shit is what I sell for this fucking weight? Hold back and stays, hold bags and stay. I couldn't even grab my shit, even though I've been holding this shit for bags for days. They've been looking for a straight hexagon, going for this rags for days, rad for days. I couldn't see for rads for days. I'm like straight rad roach and rad brooch. I couldn't see when this girl went giving me her fucking brooch, holding like a straight of the pit, grabbing back in the hair, backs in the stead, but that's why I shaved my fucking head. Grab myself with a straight airbender, rare defender. Couldn't grab myself when I hit it like a straight fender bender, rendered extended. Even though I grab my fucking drink of a straight of gasoline, they call it for my own self, and they say a robot just like Bender. Is it part of the ways and how I'm looking for this twist and grade? I've been twisting and grading, twisting and rating, twisting and rating. I look at myself, I've been part of this own eviscerating, eviscerating, just elucidating, this is just eviscerating. Is it just me? Is it just me that I look like this way? Is it just me that I have to look at this way? I've been looking at this weight, holding back for this back and the push, racking the stush. I couldn't even rack it, even though I'm grabbing this shit. But I've been looking for the straight of the blush, holding back in the rush, hold back in the stuff, couldn't hold back on this stuff, grabbing this stuff, I'm rapping, dapping this stuff, I'm bapping, lapping this stuff. I've been rapping and dapping this stuff, rapping and trapping and mapping this stuff, rapping and tapping and even might be tapping this stuff. Couldn't even grab it when she be tapping and rapping and dapping this stuff. Clapping and strapping. I couldn't see glapping the stap, mapping the stap, dropping the stap and dropping the grapping the rapping the grapple, napitals, even going so far when we're looking at a capital. But oh Mary, we look at her, she be part of its own rings, giving us two hands, been part of its own ways and how she sings. I thought the other part of her own lady, but own America, be part of this shit, be part of that shit. We couldn't even see its own empire. Holding back with the straight of a torch. I realized I couldn't even hold it when I was sitting back on the porch. Part of a dirty way, been looking at your mind, looking away the crime, waiting a stein. But you look at myself, I've been trying to weigh myself, but looking for another time, looking for a wage and part of its own ways. Pending the reins, part of the wedding of rings, pending the tending of lanes. I've been looking for myself, but part of the letting of rings. I couldn't even get this own shit when I've been looking for the bell to make it ring. Part of its own vibrato, the vibratos and rot-ratos. I couldn't get this rot worse, and I'm looking for myself in a part of its grotto. Just another sugar for a straight up a layer, part of the layers. I couldn't put another layers. I got another cares. I even gonna grab it. I couldn't even care. I sink back. I'm part of myself. I hold back. I sink part of myself. I sink back. I look back. I cold back. Could not look back, but part of the ice has a sheen, so I realize it don't even have a mirror, but it look at me. If it had the things that looked at me, if the things that looked like me, I could not see the way that I be trying to clean. Looking at part of the ways I'm looking at the sheen. Means and beans and keens and reens. I couldn't back. I tried to make it back. I couldn't even make my own cream of little shade. I don't even know. Cream of little shade. Even while I'm part of this rapping shit, I be part of this rapping shit. I'm trying to learn my own shit just to be part of this own rapping shit. It's funny when you try to grab yourself part of its own Webster's dictionary just to give yourself a little bit of words. They say it's part of the ways and part of its own legacy. I see nothing but even though you try to grab the pegs in me, I've been begging me, and even though you try to be begging me, I've been trying to get myself. I say nothing but part of the rigging, part of the singing, even though you were grabbing my ciggies. I've been holding myself, even though I be looking like Rigby. Just another dark eye, part of it, waiting a grind, waiting a rating a fine, waiting a taking a little sign. I hold back and give you just a little bit of my sign. Straight Hines 49, hold boarding nines, and been boarding a fines, been part of the ways, and been boarding and looking at ways in the sign. I say nothing but part of the build, part of the waiting the seal. Like, even though I've been part of the waiting the ceilings, been rating a ceiling, like grilling a ceiling. I couldn't even grab myself part of its own grill, but growing back of itself of its own 7-Eleven. Revving to 7, revving to 7, Devin is 11 to 7, even though I hold back like number 11. What do I have to look when I look at the number 11? Am I part of the waves when I'm in part of bleeding out my nose, bleeding and greeting it out of my nose, greeting and leading and leading and seeding it, even though I look at my hair, been part of receding, reading and steeding. I could not self back and been looking out. I pulled back and wrote back and wrote back, and part of the way when I gave you everything, I've been looking at my notes when I wrote back. But would you look at a PS? You look at it straight of a PS. What are you looking for? A PS? You looking for a ways of its own and then I hold back a part of its own repeat for Twitter, and then you're looking at a Slim Peter, written feeders, and go back in the readers. Okay, part of the practical words, part of the wedding of furs. I've even grabbed myself as part of the ways of a purge, looking and waiting the surge, part of the waiting of dirge. I could not grab my ways, I could not see my own clemency, the demoncy, through my own demonstration to its own remonstration, even though a remonstration. Oh, we've been revving everything, been looking at a station. Did we call for its own recession when we came through its own 2008 when I gave you 2004? Hold back in 4 years you could not see when we were dropping down when it used to soar. Hold backs in the floor. We couldn't even hold back when we looking at the floor. We used to come back 10 years later. What are we going to do for the next couple years after this? Strange process to think like that. Strange process even though you want to abandon those feelings when you look at that. That's part of a dirty flow. Word it grows. I couldn't even see the words even though we try to grab everything from the words we flow. From a straight patriotic, erotic, erotic, sonotics. It's even though I grabbed nothing but the ways you gave me is part of the gas has been straight noxious. Roxas. Then I say, what am I going to name my daughter when I see him when I saw the Moxie? Roxy, then Toxie, Loxy, and then I say Doxy, Roxy, and Boxy, Nazi. No, that's not my seat. But when I say the modesty came from the madam, part of its own man, pentagrams, I see nothing ways but of its own pentagram, centigrams. I couldn't even see the center, even though I gave you some of my grams. Hold backs and stands. I had to turn on my car, go back and forth, gave part of that, and then you got my just a dirty wave, even though you grab everything, part of its own dirty wave. Look at mine. Look at my mind, I couldn't even mow rhymes, I couldn't hold roll dimes. Even though I try to roll this shit, try to flip this shit, hit it, sit on the side, and it says, just another day of a dime. Hold backs with its straight up puncture marks. It gave me part of your own puncture marks. Hold back in the start. Maybe it was part of the snake when they wanted to give me something. I look when the poison seeped into the vein, hold backs and grains, even though my heart wants to stop, and they say, no, not today. The death don't even ask you when you have to say when you need to go today. Roll the days and then roll the phase and go the phase and cut back, and then you look like you've been out of the fray. Hold backs and day. Oh, sweet Jesus, look at my hallelujah. Would I know if the little kangaroo knew you? Little Joey holding back in the pouch, hold back in the stout. He's part of that little thing that I've been holding back in the stealth. But I say nothing but changing part of my own reptilian mind. Reptilians. I say with the straight of a blink, hold backs. I couldn't even get my mind when I wanted to think. Maybe it's straight of the blackout, holding racks and out. And I've been trying to get this ways when you're looking part of my genealogy, really biology. Then you want to follow me even though I don't even know part of my own biology. Looking for the rain, hold back in the tames, hold backs into things. I couldn't even hold back on these things, roll back into these things. I need to grow back just to look at these numbers and things. Maybe that's the dirty part about us earthlings. Terrestrial, couldn't even get the rest of foes. I couldn't even get the rest just to make it full. Rest of cold, I couldn't get the rest of toes. I cut trust cold, and then part of its own ways. I've been dropping everything but my straight testicle. Make it drop on the seat, drop in the piece. Maybe a little vibration might get it to part of its own ways to recede. Hold back and agreed. And then you say nothing but a ways, but I've been asking you everything and telling you everything straight up. Just agree to disagree, hold bracket me, and then you want to grab everything just to see a bracket of me, and then you're racking of me, attacking of me, and then you go in fact, and then you want to look for the ways you've been attacking to me. But maybe it's just the way I've been talking to me. Just a motherfucker talking like I've been a sociopath, holding my ways, even though I see my tears drop almost every fucking day. Roding a fade, roding a fade, roding a fade. I see nothing in ways, but you want to drop your own unit, so I have to fucking fade. Roding a days, I see nothing but a roding a phase, but I'm looking for a straight. When you give me my high school, you're looking for a musical, I couldn't see the ruse, and then you couldn't see the losing bolts. I say nothing but a ruse, but I have to fucking molt. I say this own shit when I've been shedding my own skin. It wasn't even part of this own sheep holding back in the feet. Give me everything, even though I've been racking from the feet, rapping the feet, been part of its own victimized or criticized, and even though I've been part of its own criticized, I feel nothing but a straight agonize of my own charm because I've been trying to lie to myself. Maybe that's just a narcissist talking to himself. But maybe the arsonist wanted me to see the fire of its own lands, fire to ride the fire of its own lands. See nothing but its own lens. Whole backs and fans, I couldn't even get my whole backs and sins. Maybe it's the bipolar, bi-rollers, even though I see nothing but the buys of its own rollers. Maybe the autism couldn't see the rotophism, part of its own catalysm, radophism, even though I got my own shit to the 85 or 85, he couldn't rating 5s, couldn't even see myself. I've been rating even though I'm looking at my own files. You already see that shit. What do you want to see, even though you've been rolling my fucking tiles? The shit's been fucking cold from the straight of the fight, rated the fights, you've been rating even though you've been looking at my fight. But I have to give you a tutorial about myself. I have to say this is the shit I have to deal with by myself. Writing myself. I'm writing and dieting myself. I had to be writing and dieting for myself. You call that part of the brain? Call that mental capacity when I've been looking at this shit for the same day, rating a same, been rating, attating, and laying a same, been looking at my shit even though you've been changing the same? That's funny. I thought it was just layers. You thought he wanted to give me a fucking onion. I thought I was looking for my own fucking Snapchat, rap chat, even though I've been rapping, even though you're looking like me like a rap in a trap, rapping the stab, giving my butter, even though I'm dropping myself in the bucket, call my own fucking mother. But mice never see the same when you check the reins. You couldn't even see the change, even though you were grabbing everything from the ways and we looking for the reins. Maybe I'm just trading my brain, holding back in grains. I couldn't even grab the waves, even though I'm part of the grade. The cold back in grade, I try to grip everything through its own back of the grade. But you know, the expendable comes part of its own indispensable rentables. I mean, I got my own rents. You couldn't even see my ways when I look at a straight principle. When I was 6 years old, you couldn't even see the ways when I come up from my own sharp toe, even though I was grabbing my shit off my own shit, off my unsharp toes. Rock toes. I've been rock toes. I couldn't even see my shit going from a straighter fingernails when I got this 5.5. Or is it 0.005 out of my own 0.003? Or is it 003 or 0303? I've been looking for these decimal points. You already know it changed everything. So, is it appropriate for me to say that I'm a dirty motherfucker that can't find his way? Even though his brother and mother can't even realize they can't even find how I look for myself every fucking day. It's kind of funny. They say as a president to a congressman, to the congressman came the president. But if we had a shaking up hands, who would be the man to who you are today? Who are you today? And I saw myself, I said, I don't even know. Maybe I have to trade a little bit of this English just to look part of my own my own church of my own self. But in later days, I couldn't even say. Was it the church that I couldn't see myself when I'd been flipping the page? Maybe it was King James VII, looking for England. Couldn't even see the sings, even though you've been looking for this ways you've been jingling, You want to be looking for my own ringos, how this ways, even though you were trying to look for the numbers was straight of a bingo. Baseballs and fans, raking the fans. Couldn't even get my shit when I'm hitting the fucking fan. Man, shit, I can't even see myself holding a grip. I've been trying to grab this gun, but I can't even grab when I've been holding the fucking rubber grip. Maybe it's the silicone when the fucking electricity tries to shock you on the back, drop you in the back, and then once it's part of its own particles been going through the gun, it will drop you on your back, hold back like a straighter recoil, been part of its own gun, call it the Desert Eagle. I don't understand if it's part of the 50, part of the Ricky, even though you couldn't see my words, I've been looking for the ways and how he been trying to give me Ricky. I see nothing a part of the waiting and crit, waiting and setting a glitz. I see nothing but changing, even though I'm looking for a glitch. The straight up of the unaccompanied. I've been looking for the ways, but they're giving me a firm. Hold back in the worms. I couldn't even get my shit, even though you've been trying to give me like a fish to a worm. I see nothing but the ways of a concern. You want to see the baiting of concern. You couldn't even see my own act. Maybe it is attuned to affinity, ways of brinities. I couldn't even see the brin part of its own wind to me. Maybe it's part of its own wind free, trying to fix up an arm when I lost a couple too, trying to get myself just to get alive for a little brother. Riddle brothers, even though I see the riddle, even though I see the change when we look at our mother. Just another toss back, looking for a straighter order quarters. Even though I'm looking for numbers, I couldn't even get my own gumbo for a quarter. How How do I get my ship to its own commendation? I sit back and I look at myself to its own celebration. You look at me, I give it confetti. They say, hey, you did a good job. You did a great job for a private to a sergeant. Maybe you couldn't hit major. Maybe you couldn't even hit yourself. Maybe you got that minor. But we have to say, from the Strait of Octane, I must say, you can do everything just to behave. The worst behavior, the worst you couldn't even say, even though we've been chaining for you. We've been chaining for you. So the celebration isn't the ways that you've been part of its own surplus. You've been trying to get your own grain, even though you couldn't produce us, roost us. You couldn't even deuce us. You couldn't even say the own words when you said the money trees. So we deuced you. We had to reduce you. We had to give you part of its own offline. I came to the story, even though I couldn't see my change, even though you're looking for part of this own core to me. War to me. So I have to say, does it pour to me, roar to me? Do I have to say the core to me? Do I say the core to me, even though you change for everything when I have to go for my own boy for the quarter fees? Board of means. Look at the board of means. Part of its own board of mean. I had to be part of its own board, even though you've been looking at me, part of its own Portuguese roar fees. Just little piggies going part of its own grip. Part of the ways, you can't even see the ways we even go and got our numbers. We couldn't even get our ways to a glyph. Been looking at these runes, hold back consumes. I couldn't even hold backs, even though I'm looking for the numbers. I can't even consume. They say religion's in the next part from my stage. They say religion's next part from my stage. They told me religion's the next part from my stage. I saw everything part of the ways. I couldn't even change everything because I have over 30,000 religions just for my own shit for the look for today. How am I going to do it? How could I even look through it? How could I even have the facts? And even though I got some information, how could I believe it even though I got between the lines? They want to say it's part of the ways you're looking for. Afraid of the coke, rated the coats. I couldn't even rate in my coats. I've been trying to rating even though I'm looking for the ways of my coat. Oh, these girls know me so well. Look at that. They gave me 7-Eleven. They gave me a Slurpee because I love my fucking coke all frozen. Couldn't even hope. They grabbing even though they grabbing a rope. They gave me the seed and hold back and agreed. I couldn't even hold back because I know I agree. But she says, boy, all you got is these degrees. And you look at me with straight in school spirit. They say, Dad, what do you want to do for me? What do you want to do to me? I couldn't even get through to you, even though you got through to me. Hold to me. I got roll to me. I hold back, even though you've been growing your meat. Gave me fucking grain beef. I hold bound the feet. I've been jumping out. Been dropping off, even though you've been trying to ground my fucking feet. Maybe it was just part of the Chinese, the way just to make them small, making crawls. I couldn't even say, even though you couldn't even walk, they want to make you crawl. Funny. Just another joke, quoting a rope, coding a throat. So you've been part of the ways, you've been part of the waiting a boat. Even though I couldn't see my ways, I've been looking for my straight cut throat. Just boats. They say little boats like straight yachty, cotties, a lotties, a toddies, a noddies, a foddies, a dotties, a roddies, a bodies, a noddies, a cotties, a toddies, a roddies, a soddies, a monity. But not the python, going for a straight triangulation. Hold bags and stations. Hold bags even though I'm sitting, even though we're sitting at this own train station. You saw what I had to do for the straight of Amtrak, holding these problems like I never saw this shit, like I'm holding my own numbers like a straight of the track, straight of the back. Couldn't even grab my own detective because I can't even look far past my nose. Back and modes, back and foes. And you know how I lost and got this shit smashed in? I walked into a wall, part of its own darkness, part of the darker rooms. You better get your shit up because I can't even look up. They say it's part of the chin, like a straight of crims, the chin, the grips and thins. Even though I'm part of its own grips and thins, I can't even grasp, even though you give me part of its own wheat thins. I've been trying to get to losing the weight, you couldn't even lose me, even though you got me on the fate. Then you want to give me that shit for the bait. Maybe it was another worm, because I was the fish at that time, rich in the fine, looking to get myself rich, even though I'm looking myself for that time. Hold back in the crime, hold back in the sign, couldn't even hold back, even though I'm looking for my own shit in the time. So what would you mandate to me? What would the order could go to me? No, you wouldn't tell me. You were just trying to way to influence the ways and how it goes back to me. How would you go back to me? I'm just going to influence the world just so you could see the world. I could tag back to you, back to you. Got these own tags, even though I'm looking for the straight facts for you. Bags to you. Couldn't even look to the bags in you. And then I look through all your bags into till I find the money. And then I grab an extra bill because you know what? You owe me some money. That's kind of selfish of you. You say it's for free. I hold back. I could not see. But even though you've been trading for me. I said everything was for free. You said nothing is for free. I told you it was for free. Why you want to trade me like we guarded this old American scheme? Is it part of the triangle? Is it part of the ways of the angle? Could I even say, even though you're looking for a straighter angular fish, I gave you a little bit of my light and you realized you couldn't even hold yourself up. But just a dirty male just holding on to the back of the sun. Happened the suns. Couldn't even see it even though we looking to the back of the sun. Sitting in the fucking dark room and beneath the fucking sea. The deep depths. Even though I'm part of this deep depth. Whole beep nets. And even though I tried to get this hotline playing, you couldn't even get my beeper in distress. Just another mistress looking for the trading of mine, trading a grading of times, even rating a dating at times. I couldn't even get myself a rating a dating at times, rating a stating at times. But even though I'm looking myself, I've been part of myself, I've been trading this time. Rating of rhymes. Even though I'm rating at times, I've been rating a stating at times. I've been stating myself, looking for times. But traded degrees, I couldn't even hold myself in trading degrees, holding a back in the fees, a grading of fees, I couldn't gliding of fees, I couldn't see the gladiator, even though I've been trading everything for my own slavery, bravery through its own knavery. I've been holding myself, even though I've been screaming myself while you've been pulling me apart. Hold myself up, I'm not even Scottish, we've been part of the brave, holding myself through its own bear, we couldn't even sit in the fucking cave. But he said like a lichen, and then you say you want the entropy. You say you want to say when you grab the rope. They say these own fucking vampires, even though they say we got a tote. We say the conduits. I couldn't even conduit, even though you've been conduit, I conduit. I say nothing straight of the verse, hold back in the verse. I say nothing but I've been changing everything for the ways of my curse. Do I have to say the way to changing my own ways to its own overs, and then I have to go part of my own covert? Then you say it's part of its own malignant? Then you say it's part of my changing my pigments? Grab my own ligaments, big mints, and then I see nothing but, and I have to grab my shit like I've been opening my mouth for fucking big mints, pin sense, and then I've been tired of my scent, then I can't even lose my scent, hold back in the stint, hold back in the grits, and then I say part of its own ways. Do I look at regret? Do I look at my change of the set? Do I change my stomach even though it's going overlapping myself? Do I have my own roles even though I'm having the grows and I'm rapping the does and rapping the dapping the roads? I say nothing but changing, looking for everything, rating of everything. I couldn't even get my own feather even though I'm dropping everything, including my brain. The same fucking pound, but I'm dropping the same as slope. Do I have to look at myself just to give myself a little bit of hope? But you've been looking at my straight of medium. You couldn't even get your own enchantment, even though I'm trading my own shit for a straight of advancement, and then I say advance of it, and then advance of it, and then I couldn't even advance of it, a dance of it. Man, I changed the words, and then they say, I thought you wanted to dance. I told you, I said I wanted to dance. You just gave another conundrum. I mean, part of the words are part of my dance. Vance and rants and canning a rants, and canning a danning a landing a stance. No, I say nothing but changing a stance or rating a stance. I cannot change the way to looking for prank or rank or ranks the thanks. But I say things, change the links, and then the change the brains of things, and then the brains of things, and see nothing but change. But I looking for my brain and how it thinks, connected to its own scar tissue, garbage tissue. I've been guarding everything except my fucking issues. So you know what you gave me, but instead of my being a crybaby, I used all my fucking tissues in my bed. I hold back instead. I said nothing but changing it back instead. And then you want to say, oh, just another trade for my own fucking 4 inches. You said I gave you a 3, and then I gave you nothing even though you're looking at me. Hold back in the green, hold back in the C, hold back in the D, and then you realize you give me nothing numbers part of its own D, so I've been looking at myself like Mr. fucking D. Give me another pizza and trail, give me a frostbite on my tiptoe, rip toe, the dip toe, the lip toe. Then he say nothing but part of its own cancer when it comes in my lymph nodes. Oh, but hey, just take a little notes and take in the river stoats. I see nothing but the rivers, and then you say you want to give me a part of its own toke. I've been sitting in its own rhymes, I see nothing but birds trying to tell me the time. They say, when you come in the jungle gym, I could not see, but I had the ASAP, and then they looking for the rock, of repping rops. I see nothing but ripping the tops. I see nothing even though I'm trying to say I'm ripping the top. Maybe I'm trying to cling. Maybe so its own stump nose, a rub nose. I couldn't even get my own shit to rub my own red nose. I can't even stop once I get the biting. They call the black dog. They couldn't even realize I've been dropping through the shit like a straight like a dopey through the fog, rapping dogs. They couldn't even rap even though I'm rapping with my dogs. Hold back. You couldn't even see this mess. They say Zoro the rower. You say you're going through this own world. Nah, I went to the burrow. You want to say when you're grabbing the... Nah, that was the raccoon coming from a straight of slides and coops, slides and dupes. He couldn't even say it even though it lies, even though it's part of its own coup de grace, coup de grace, coup de grace, and coup de who de base. No, who are we doing part of its own elude base, elude coup de grace, coup de guru ace. Maybe I'm just trading with these words, trying to figure out how to make these own shit going through the straight of the mesh. Hold back in the best, hold back in the desk. They say nothing but a straight and a surf and a turf. I couldn't even say my own trade while I'm putting in the grass. Hold back in the dash, hold back in the task, hold back, and then I'm back out the door with a quick of a dash. Hacking the fast, and then I've been hacking and whacking the fast, lacking the dack and the fast. So World is not the ways of a straight of a bass, but I'm looking for bass, hold a Mac in the face, hold back in the lack in the days. But she plays bass, I'm holding a rack in the drace, hold back in the lack in the face. I hold back, and even though I'm looking at myself, I can't even look at my face. So what do I have to say? Do I give me my part of my own outline? Do I give myself, even though you're sitting the shit for part of the rhymes, holding a rap in the vines, even though I've been rapping myself, I've been looking at the vines, holding back in the crime. Oh, do I look at myself at one of a time? I know. I've been trading my own well-knowns for other, part of the mainstream, the range feed, part of, even though I've been arranging, looking for ranging the fees, rating of fees, I couldn't even, they say, hey, you have to be paying your fee, they say, pay your way in pain, paying your ways in fame, pay your ways in pain, part of ways in cane, part of lays in cane, part of days and things, even though looking for bays and things and things. I'm just looking for things. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's my problem. They say chase. They say don't chase that thing, erase the thing. Even though you have to be erasing that thing, racing the case in that thing, you dacing, lacing the thing. Even though part of it is not even trying to trace that thing. You look at the string. You know how they fabricate that thing. Twisting and rolling, twisting and growing, twisting and listing and growing. You couldn't even get your twisting even though you went. You couldn't even see what I've been trying to grow. Rapping in the froze, I couldn't even rap even though you shouldn't even self. I grab my fucking pick and get out my roll. I don't even have a fucking bro. So look at me when I look at the dough. Oh no, just Shiloh going through this own shit like a straight of the Martin. I've been looking for Tommy the Rami, the Dummies, the Dummies, the Tommies, the Tommies, the Tommies, the Tommies, the Drummies. Oh yeah. Maybe Reno was that way. The creative phase, the creative days of raid, the tater made of raids, and tater raid and training phase, and then I training lading phase, and then I training native phase. I can't hold back and looking great. I couldn't see my own motif, and moto do defeat, the do to road to feast, the toe to feast, and then I say nothing but straight to Joe to see. They say it's like a straight of Jezebel while you give me this own picture with Tupac and the other world. So let me give it a whirl. We've been twisting this waters in sync. You want to say you want to be part of the ocean, even though you're part of my sink. I say nothing me trading for the faucet. We couldn't even block it, even though it's coming down to the straight of the water of the stream. Hold back to the thing. Just give me a fucking plug. We'll see the water fill up. Maybe we might give a little water damage around the house. We have to maybe switch to floorboards just to give our